Thursday, November 6th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I'm meteorologist Matthew East here with you. Had some pretty comfortable temperatures yesterday afternoon across the region, up to 70 for high in Charlotte. It was 72 in Fayetteville. Wilmington hit 74, so did Columbia. 67 in Greensboro and 71 yesterday afternoon in Raleigh. And temperatures fairly mild this morning, certainly mild by early November standards. A lot of folks 60 or better across the Carolinas here at 5:30 this morning. And again, we've kept that warming trend going. These readings are warmer than what we had at this point yesterday, and yesterday was substantially warmer than the day before. So we have had pretty good temperature turnaround after that very, very cold weekend. Now, in terms of the overall setup today, cold front beginning to move into the region, and as that cold front slides on through, there'll be some scattered showers, most of them very light in nature, and the better rain totals will be the farther north you head in the region, but we're still not talking about anything overly impressive at all in terms of most of our rain totals. That's the radar as I'm cutting the video. We've had this batch of mainly very light rain moving through some of the Piedmont zones during the pre-dawn hours. Additional scattered showers off to the west. Now, the most substantial rain with this cold front is down along the Louisiana and the Texas Gulf Coast. Also behind the front in the colder area, you do have some snow flying in parts of Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan early this morning. But the moisture pretty limited, and the dynamics pretty limited too in terms of this storm system, this front as it's moving through the region today. So I think we're just looking at some passing showers at times, not anything overly heavy, not a very big deal at all. This is what it looks like on Futurecast here with the cold front sliding through, your scattered showers with us. And I think what you see here on the RPM modeling, that is the absolute upper limit in terms of rain potential in most spots. Most of us under a quarter inch by a pretty good margin, and the best chance of even seeing a quarter inch of rain would be I-40 and points northward and then back into the mountains too. Highs today, pretty mild still. It looks like upper 60s to low to mid 70s depending on where you are in the region. Cooler up there in the mountains around Boone at 55. Now the colder air at least, plunges in here. As we get into tonight and tomorrow, there'll be some mountain snow late tonight and into tomorrow morning. Not a huge mountain snow event, but those northwest-facing slopes could pick up an inch or two as we go through again late tonight and into tomorrow morning. And then there's your cooler air around the region. A lot of 50s back in place for highs through the foothills and into the Piedmont zones. Probably close to freezing Saturday morning. And then really just a very quiet weekend, it would appear, is on the way. Some clouds at times, but overall looks pretty quiet. There's your Saturday highs. A lot of North Carolina Piedmont spots, mid and upper 50s. And I think a lot of us in the lower 60s or so on Sunday. Now, before I get into the longer range, I'll give you the tropical update very quickly here. We do have that little disturbance that I mentioned yesterday north of Puerto Rico, but it is not showing any signs of becoming better organized. Upper level winds very hostile, and that's going to get swept out to sea. Now, watch what happens with the upper level pattern. This is Monday. We have a very mild start to the week. In fact, some of us could clip 70 again by Tuesday of next week, but then a big dome of cold air will kind of wobble down into the country. Now, it looks like the core of that cold air probably stays up across the northern plains, the Midwest, and into the northeastern part of the country, but we'll be on the fringes of that shallow, chilly air. And just a sampling, these numbers will probably be adjusted downward, but that's a sampling of potential low temperatures on Thursday morning of next week. And you're looking at that. Again, it's not necessarily that it's a tremendously brutal cold air mass in many spots. It's just the widespread nature of the cold air. A lot of the country east of the Rockies in that cold air as we get deeper into next week. And we could wind up with some highs in the 40s in the Piedmont and some lows in the 20s later next week, just depending on how things play out. It depends on how significantly we get into that colder air and how much stays bottled up just to our north. All right, that is it for today's edition of the video. Everybody have a wonderful day, and God bless.